Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network. Hi, this is Amit Doshi, and I wanted to thank each and every one of our listeners. It's been 2 years since I founded IVM, and it's been an amazing 2 years. We wanted to learn a little bit more about who is listening to our shows, and so we put together a short survey. The survey is anonymous, and we aren't going to be collecting any personal information. I would really appreciate it if you could take a couple of minutes out of your day and go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and fill it out. Thanks, and please keep listening.
If you like the Drinks and Destinations podcast, which is an IndusVox media production, we also have other podcasts like the Stylogram. If you're looking for some stylish tips, you do tune into that.
You're listening to the Drinks and Destinations podcast.
Hi guys, welcome to the Drinks and Destinations podcast. I'm your host Rojita.
And I'm Sameera.
Hi Sameera.
Hi Rojita. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. I had a chill week.
Really?
All I was doing was looking forward to the Oscars. So I was just catching up with the Oscar movies.
Yeah? Which all did you watch?
I saw Moonlight.
Nice. How is it?
I didn't like it as much. I think I was watching it with a lot of expectations, and then
You would still vote for Lion? Maybe?
I would.
Yeah,
I
loved
that
Lion.
film. And oh wow,
That's
Dev
nice
Patel
movie.
looks so amazing now.
Yeah, I
From
know.
Slumdog Millionaire. to
Yeah,
now.
imagine. Okay, so I had a very interesting weekend, by the way.
What did you do, Rojita?
So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about a very interesting beer fest, the craft beer festival in India, and that took place just last weekend.
Entire Bombay was talking about it. I just want to tell you that.
Yeah.
Except for like some of us who were sitting at home, who live under a rock. But it was a very, there was a lot of buzz about this festival.
There was.
Because some of my friends decided to go like around 4-5 in the evening, and they said it's sold out.
Yeah, because they had to close the entry for some time, and they were only taking bookings through bookmyshow.com. So that's what it was. Okay, so in the About Town section, we're going to talk about this craft beer fest called Tapped. And the next segment, Brand Wagon, we're going to talk about a new whiskey from Sula's portfolio. They've just launched it a couple of months back, which I tasted recently, and we're going to talk about that. It's called Eclipse.
Okay.
Then on the Grapevine, we have a new outlet of Dulali coming up in Colaba. Do you know that?
I just did find out, and I'm very happy about it because, the more Dulalis in town, the better. Which also is kind of showing that they're getting very popular.
Yeah,
by the
they
day.
are, of course. And then in the Off the Beaten Track segment, we're going to talk about a whiskey that's coming from the portfolio of Guinness.
All right.
And last but not the least, the D&D chat segment, where I speak to all the consortium heads of Anteprime di Toscana, Tuscany Wine Promotion Board. I was on a recent visit to Tuscany, remember I told you about.
Yeah, and your fifth
Yeah,
visit,
this was my
right?
5th year there,
Yeah.
and I spoke to all the consortium heads, and I asked them what are the 3 major changes that they have seen in the last 5 years. So that's very interesting. All of them speak about different things, and which is coming up in the D&D chat segment. So let's begin with the About Town segment.
About Town.
So the Tapped Craft Beer Festival happened in Juhu on Sunday, and Rojita, you were there, and like we were talking that it's the most talked about festival currently now.
Yeah,
So what was it like? I
The
heard
most
good
famous beer festival. I mean, the only craft beer festival actually in India.
Yeah.
So this took place at the newly renovated place called Raspberry Rhinoceros. It looks like a hotel, but it's a beautiful location.
Okay.
With the view of Juhu Beach and
I know, I saw some really pretty sunset
yeah.
pictures by the beach and like,
like
fairy
perfect
lights.
location for a beer fest.
Yeah.
So just for people who don't know, this was the 2nd edition of Tapped. The first one happened 2 years back in 2015 at one of
2
the
years
clubs.
back. I thought it was an annual thing. It's not.
Yes, but last year, for some reason, they didn't do the festival.
Okay.
So this was 2 years back in one of the clubs in Colaba.
Okay.
And because that was the first time, there were little less number of breweries participating.
Okay.
But there was a huge turnout for that event. By 5 o'clock or something, they had already run out of a lot of beers there.
Oh.
But that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting part is I had written an article after that event saying that what the Indian wine industry should learn from the craft beer industry in India.
Oh, why did you write that? Do you years back? What did they have to learn?
See, the thing is, I think it happens all across the globe, but the competition that is there in the wine industry in India right now, somehow when the craft beer industry was, evolving, I mean, they're still evolving, but when they were very new, they had a different kind of equation with each other. Okay. There were just, handful of people, really good beers brewing. The only aim that they had was to brew some good beers and make craft beer as a very interesting segment to for consumers to try out. Something that was never heard of in India earlier.
Okay. Which I feel they kind of achieved to some level.
To some extent, of course, that's true. But then somehow, this time when I was there at this event, I could sense the big competition that's going on between these, breweries. And there were breweries like Effing Good Brewery, Gateway Brewing Company, Independence Brewing Company, Dulali, Brewbot, White Owl, and East India Brewing Co. and all that. All these guys, they were showcasing at least 4 to 5 of their brews.
Right.
And in fact, I got some inside gossip saying that how there was a big tussle between which stall should be the first one, those kind of things. So this was a little disappointing for me because I always thought these guys, they still have that kind of camaraderie, and they still want to focus only on developing the craft beer culture in India rather than checking out whose brewery is the best one, whose beers are the best one.
So that
but hopefully they realize that.
Turned.
Yeah.
From your last article. I'm looking forward to this article this year. But I can imagine like all these like Dulali, White Owl, Brewwort, very everyone's kind of doing very well in their own right, and so the competition must be.
See, the thing is with craft beer culture all across the globe, especially in US, it's reached a saturation point. So like any other product cycle, they are almost at the plateau stage. With
Which
India,
is so different from what's happening in India.
Yeah,
right?
the thing is in India, it's last 5 years you see like a huge uprise in terms of the awareness about craft beer as a drink.
And I think
category.
right now could we say it's at its peak, like currently as we speak, like craft beer is really...
It's not reached at
really?
its peak yet, but if this kind of attitude goes on, then I really don't think a future more than 10 years for craft beers in India. Because see, the thing is people get bored of every product, and plus to have craft beer sustain that segment, they need to capture a big market, the beer drinking consumers. And till the time they keep fighting with each other about the whose beers are the best, and the thing is when restaurants start having 20 tap rooms in one place, then obviously they're fighting with each other.
Right.
How many beers can you have in one restaurant?
Exactly.
So that's something they need to work out on their own.
Sort out that mess and just like give us great beer. That's all we are asking for.
I hope
Speaking of which, when I went to Dulali this weekend, I tried the new chocolate coconut milk beer.
Chocolate coconut milk. Wow.
Yeah. It was not bad. It was like a chocolate milkshake with like little alcohol in it. That's what it tasted
I
like.
wouldn't want that in my beer.
Over there.
Yeah. But I can tell you there are 2 beers that I liked at the fest.
Tell me.
One is the honey lavender beer from Independence Brewing Company. That was really good. I loved it because it's light. It's got a very nice aroma and interesting
Lavender,
to try. Yeah. And 2 others. One was Darling G from Gateway Brewing Company. They always come up with these fancy names, and really nice ones. And the lambic style beer, which they've just launched. So these were some nice beers from the craft beer fest. Obviously, there was food, music, and the perfect sunset made it like a great venue to enjoy some time there.
Great. So a good enough festival if you're in and around chilling on your Sunday.
Yeah.
Something you can explore and have a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
And good music.
All right. So next coming up is the Brandwagon segment.
Brandwagon.
We now begin with our Brandwagon segment, in which we are going to talk about the newly launched whiskey Eclipse from Sula's portfolio.
Yes, and I tasted the whiskey just recently.
Did. Lucky you. Tell us all about it.
So this is not available in Bombay yet.
By the end of the year, I think it's going to be here.
So they're still working out it's not easy to get all the spirits into Maharashtra. And especially this is obviously produced in Goa. So thankfully I was in Sula's office and I got to try the whiskeys. So this is basically a blended whiskey and with 42.8 alcohol in it. And this was launched in December last year.
Okay.
And Sula's, this is the third spirits brand from Sula's portfolio after your J, brandy called J, and Janus, the two brands that they had. And Eclipse is a blend of 62% grain spirit, 10% malt scotch, and 20% grape spirit, and 8% peated malt spirit. When I tasted it, it felt like really smooth, very nice, elegant, and easy on the palate. And this could be a very good competition to brands like Teachers and maybe the other blended Scotch whiskey brands in the segment.
Okay. And how is it priced?
In Goa, it's priced at 750 rupees.
Okay.
But in other states, I mean, it depends on the excise taxes. You know exactly how much. That's for 750 ml bottle. And the expression is also going to be rolled out in Pondicherry, Delhi, Uttarakhand this month. Or it's already been rolled out, and Maharashtra by end of this year.
Okay, so as of now, you would say it's only available in Goa?
Goa and
Andhra Pradesh.
Andhra Pradesh and couple of other places. And there are only 200 cases of Eclipse which are produced so far. So the company official told me that they plan to produce only 5,000 cases.
Ooh.
For this whiskey. So it's something to look forward to for whiskey drinkers.
Yeah,
something you want to try, something different. So, all right, now we're going to go on a break, and when we come back, we talk about what's there on the grapevine.
Who's ahead in the league and what's cooking off the pitch? We at TFG bring all that you need to know about Indian football. Discussions, debate, banter, in-depth analysis with a touch of fun and fandom. This is the TFG Indian Football Podcast, and we're a daily show. So check us out on YouTube and various other podcasting apps like iTunes, Audioboom, SoundCloud, etc.
Welcome back, and on the grapevine segment today, we are going to talk about the new outlet that's going to open in Colaba from the brewery Dulali. Do you know how many Dulalis we have in Bombay right now?
Yeah, so if I do a count, there's one in Andheri, there's one in Bandra, there is one in, only two.
There is another one in Khar somewhere, and this one is coming up in Colaba. So there
we
are
have four
Dulalis we have, and there's one more coming up. I don't remember the location exactly because the guys from Dulali told me that there's one more. So by end of this year, we might have 5 Dulalis in Bombay. So can you imagine what's going to happen to other microbreweries?
And I'm already surprised because South, like a lot of places open up, like in Bandra, Khar, Andheri, Malad even for that matter, but very few like you'd see like in town or Fort or Colaba, because those places are just sticking
fine
to
dining places.
and just what's there is there, the old timers. So for actually I'm kind of guessing the popularity it's having with it opening in that side of the town.
And the Dulali outlet in Andheri, whenever you go, it's always packed.
And I really like it. It has it has a great feel to it.
Yeah, but the only problem I have is the food menu. They have nothing in the menu.
Yeah, they don't. But you know what's really famous? Their house fries.
God. Yeah, I know.
And the best part is because it's the house fries. I think one of the only places which give you 5 different dips with your house fries. So that's great. But yeah, it's always packed. I think whichever Dulali you ever go to, and you're surprised, true. Like Monday afternoon.
And on weekends when you go, the people have their, they come with their entire family, like small kids and dogs.
Right.
in the outlet in Andheri. And I'm sure they allow the pets in other outlets as well. So that's something. By the way, another thing is Effing Good Brewery from Pune. Even they are opening up in Bombay.
When?
It's going to happen sometime by mid of 2017, but they're still scouting for a venue. They haven't finalized yet, but even that's coming up in the city.
So then what do you think? Do you think it's going to get as popular as probably a Dulali? Like, do you see it
possible? Because they are very popular in Pune, I know.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, so from Pune, these guys have just, ventured into our city, and now obviously they are very popular. Dulali, Effing Good, and Independence Brewing Company. So I think it's something interesting, isn't it?
So all you beer lovers, I think that's something to look forward to. I think mid of this year, somewhere in a few months, we'll see Effing Good in Bombay.
Yes.
And maybe then in Delhi and Bangalore, not too sure. Too bad you guys.
Yeah.
It's coming to Bombay first.
All right, so next coming up is Off the Beaten Track segment. Stay tuned.
Off the beaten track.
All right, welcome back. And in the Off the Beaten Track segment, we have a very interesting news for all the Guinness fans.
What is the
Do you
news?
like
Spill
Guinness?
the beans. Rojita,
Okay.
don't keep it within yourself. Share it with the world.
I'm going to talk about that. But first, I have to ask you, do you like Guinness?
I'm not particularly a fan.
I love Guinness.
You do. That's why that broad smile on your face.
Yeah, Guinness is like one iconic brand from Ireland that you cannot miss, obviously. And anyone who loves stout always would vouch for a
I
Guinness,
think, yeah, it's
glass
more-
of
so
Guinness. So
the stout lovers. which
Yes,
You're
exactly.
a hardcore stout lover?
I love stouts, but if it's well made, so it's like, I mean,
I love good stout.
yeah, it has to be made in a certain way.
All
But
right.
yeah, so it's not about the beer. Basically, I got to know that Guinness is launching its own whiskey, by the way.
All right. And it's a new premium blend of Irish whiskey?
Yes, it's going to be available in Europe from in few months.
Okay.
And this is basically made in the former Guinness factory in Ireland.
Okay.
And Diageo, which is the owner of Guinness, is set to release this brand called Roy & Co. Irish Whiskey.
Okay.
So after an approximately $27 million investment into the project, the product is going to be finally ready. And so Caroline Martin, master blender, he is going to source all the various whiskies blends from across Ireland and then prepare this sometime soon. So I haven't got an official release yet, but I got to know about it from another website. So we'll still have to wait for the final release. But what I know about the whiskey is that on the nose, it's creamy, delightfully fragrant, and remarkably rounded with notes of soft spice and mellow spun sugar, along with warm hints of woody vanilla. Which is a signature style from the house. And the quality and perfect balance of the blend is immediately apparent on the palate, and very velvety in structure and sweet flavors, including spiced pears and vanilla. And the finish is lingering and gentle, ending with a light creaminess. So it has that sweet pear note, which is apparent to Roe & Co. And it's a tribute to once great Dublin whiskey distillery of George Roe & Co. That's the concept
Wow,
behind
it
it.
sounds like a treat for all the whiskey lovers
I
out
know,
there.
and
Must
I'm
be
really
waiting.
looking forward to it because I love Irish whiskies, and this is something which would be very
So you're saying
interesting.
somewhere this year. We are not sure when.
Yeah,
and
we don't
what.
know when exactly because it doesn't give a proper dateline. But most probably, first is going to be launched in Europe,
Okay.
and then it would be sent out to other parts of the world. So if anyone who's traveling to Europe and especially to Ireland, maybe this year,
Get us a bottle.
I know I would love to try that whiskey.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that's something to look forward to. And coming up next, we have our D&D chat segment.
D&D Chat.
We now begin with our D&D chat section, and Rojita, congratulations. It's been your 5 years of continuously going to the Anteprime di Toscana event.
Thank you. Yes,
every year.
it's a beautiful journey that I
Yeah.
started a couple of years back, and I was very happy this year to be there at the event for the fifth time.
Yeah.
And so what I did was, I spoke to all the consortium heads.
Okay.
And I asked them what is the major change that they have seen in the last 5 years, because just to give you an idea, there are consortiums where they celebrated 300th anniversary, the Chianti Classico consortium. They have the beautiful icon called Gallonero, which is like a black rooster.
Okay.
So last year it was black, but this year it was red. So every year they change the branding for that.
Oh, how
and
cool.
they also introduced a new segment in the classification called Grand Selection, which was not there earlier. That happened the last 2 years. And Vernaccia di San Gimignano, the one from San Gimignano, they celebrated their 50th anniversary last year.
Oh.
So was the Vino Nobile di Montepulciano, and Brunello also celebrated its anniversary last year. So I spoke to all the heads from the consortiums, and I wanted to ask them, what are the 3 major changes you've seen?
And like a very good person, you have got recordings
Yes.
from there. So all of us can be a part of it. And
Yes, I
actually
wanted
hear
the
it.
listeners to also hear what
Yeah.
the consortiums had to
And
say.
you were recording at the festival, so there's a bit of white noise.
It's a
You
little
guys ignore
noisy,
it.
but
Yeah.
So we're going to start with Mr. Giuseppe Liberatore, the Director General of Chianti Classico Consortium. So hi, Mr. Liberatore.
Yes.
Hi.
The first one is we are very satisfied about the number of Chianti Classico of last years. Especially we had an improvement of our sales in last 8 years, and we now our wine increased sell about 50% in 8 years. Okay. The second target is the new rules of our code. We changed these rules 3 years ago, and in particular the new typology of Chianti Classico, that is Gran Selezione, that is a very particular wine, the best production of our estates, that is located on the peak of the pyramid of Chianti Classico, and now it represents about 44% of our denomination. The third target is the projects for the future, and in particular the request for Chianti, the territory of Chianti where we produce Chianti Classico, of heritage site UNESCO. Okay? And another important target is Distretto Rurale is an association between public and private estates and association that work together, okay, to manage the denomination and the project on this denomination that are not only wines, but also other important things like tourism, like food, like culture, like history. So this is very important because we have the wine, we have the quality, but it's important to promote our territory. So the area where our production will be based. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So that was Giuseppe Liberatore, and he spoke about what are the changes that he has seen in the Chianti Classico consortium. And just for the listeners to understand, Anteprime di Toscana takes place on the second week of February every year in Florence, Italy. And that basically takes the buyers, the tasters, and the trade guys on a journey from different Tuscan wine regions, starting from Chianti Classico to San Gimignano to Montepulciano and Montalcino. So the next one coming up is the interaction with Miss Letizia Cesani. She is the president of Vernaccia di San Gimignano. Hi, Letizia.
Hi.
So you have to tell us the major 3 changes that you have seen in the last 5 years.
Well, first of all, the number of visitors to our events, starting from people, just wine lovers who wanted to taste some wines of our area, until the specialized press like you that are getting more and more interested in Vernaccia wines, and they are coming much more often. So this is the first thing. The second one is that we present always a seminar between Vernaccia and another white wine of the world, and the interest for this event is always increasing. And for the real change is that this year, for the first time, we have a woman guiding this wine tasting, and that's for us is really, for me, being a woman is really, I'm very proud to have this person attending to this very good event. And the third thing that I invite you to prove by yourself is the quality of our wines that have really increased, and our producer really did a great job in trying to improve in the quality and working hard in selecting the grapes. And I think in the last 2 years, 2015-2016 harvest will develop in the best ways possible.
But has there been any change in the style of making the wines?
Not really. Not really. We are very traditional style place, and the wines tend to have a very intense personality. And Vernaccia is one of the rarest white grape in the world with very strong characteristic. Not too aromatic, not too acid, but very long finishing, very rich, and people continue going in this direction. They're not really changing, but they only want to underline these differences and characteristics.
So one last question. How do you define a Vernaccia wine? What are the main characteristics of a wine from Sameera?
We generally define a Vernaccia wine red wine dressing white, in the sense that the color is the one of a white wine, but some of the characteristics are not really normal for a general white wine, in the sense that generally whenever you approach to a tasting of a white wine all over the world, you generally look for flavors, aromas and acidity. Vernaccia is not on this side of the taste. Vernaccia is a very, very rich, powerful and smoothie wine, so improve the quality with the aging. So if you're looking for something different, for something special, that's Vernaccia.
Okay, thank you so much, Riti.
You're welcome.
Moving on, we have Mr. Andrea Natalini, the president of Consorzio del Vino Nobile di Montepulciano, talking to us about the Anteprime di Toscana.
Vabbè, io innanzitutto vi parlerei dei nostri tre motivi particolari, maggiori cambiamenti. Innanzitutto è la nostra nuova sede, quindi la sede del Consorzio del Vino Nobile, dei nuovi uffici e soprattutto una nuova vinoliteca.
So first of all, we want to start to speak about our big change. The first big change that we have made in the last years is our new offices that we have moved here in the fortress, and the new wine oil shop is a very amazing place where it's possible to taste the Vino Nobile di Montepulciano.
E la seconda notizia può essere quella del progetto che è partito 2 anni fa per quanto riguarda le emissioni di CO2 e la carbon footprint, che a oggi ci vede protagonisti. Il nostro progetto è quasi al traguardo e possiamo dire che saremo la prima denominazione a fregiarsi di questo riconoscimento.
The second important thing is the Consorzio del Vino Nobile is the first appellation here in Italy to have the carbon footprint recognition. So we have the first denomination to are able to not produce CO2. So it's a very important thing for us in Italy, also because we are in a period, in a moment of weather change, so it's a very important thing to be the first in this green area.
E la terza, che forse è la più importante, sicuramente è la qualità del nostro prodotto, che anno dopo anno continua ad evolversi e perché no a cambiare.
And the third but not least is the quality of our Vino Nobile di Montepulciano, because the quality really is very high and we are very proud of this.
And in terms of organic production, you were saying that in the last 5 years also the number of organic wineries have increased?
In termini di aziende organiche, spiegavo prima che si sta crescendo anche in termini di aziende organiche.
Sì, vabbè, quando si parla di sostenibilità del territorio, quando si parla di attenzione al territorio, sicuramente le aziende più dinamiche, biologiche stanno crescendo di numero e anche la qualità del vino sta crescendo.
When we spoke about the environment and when we spoke about the terroir, we are so happy to confirm the organic and the biodynamic winery here in Montepulciano are growing up very well and very fast.
So in 2 years you will have, you're going to have 32 wineries,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. 32 wineries in a few years.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So in the end, we have Mr. Patrizio Senzioni, the president of Consorzio del Vino Brunello di Montalcino, sharing his ideas and his feedback on the developments in the last 5 years.
Diciamo cambiamenti alla manifestazione, quelli più radicali sono questi dell'ultima edizione di quella attuale, in quanto abbiamo accredito online per operatori, abbiamo una migliore e più attenta selezione del pubblico di appassionati.
Okay, the first change of the event, the first change in the event are mainly happened this year because we changed also the accreditation online to keep a better selection of the operators, of the trade operators.
Okay.
Altra modifica è quella della presenza di tutte le aziende partecipanti per il sabato, cosa che non era prevista nelle edizioni precedenti, negli ultimi anni.
The second change this year is that all the participating wineries at the event Benvenuto Brunello are presenting their wines on Saturdays personally. And this is another change because in the previous edition it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Queste sono le principali modifiche per quanto riguarda la nostra anteprima. Per quanto riguarda il consorzio, da un mese abbiamo una nuova sede, quindi questa è la novità veramente.
And then the new thing of the year is that concerning the consortium, we have a new office starting from this year. So this is the biggest new we have.
Okay.
Tra l'altro la nostra nuova sede è qui accanto, qui a 20 metri, quindi sempre fa parte del complesso di Sant'Agostino, quindi uno spazio che ci è stato dato dalla Curia, che è proprietaria della chiesa e proprietaria di tutto l'immobile.
And the new office is nearby the location of the event. It's close by to the claustrum, and it's part of the same complex of Sant'Agostino.
In terms of wine styles, any change or?
Per quanto riguarda lo stile di produrre il vino, ci sono stati cambiamenti?
No, diciamo che i disciplinari di produzione sono sempre quelli, anzi sono stati aggiornati solo un anno e mezzo fa, quindi è stato confermato tutto quello che c'era, togliendo quello che era il superfluo, perché l'altitudine non era più essenziale.
There is no change in the last years, everything has been renewed but still confirmed as before.
And what about new markets for Brunello?
I nuovi mercati del Brunello, che ne pensi?
Non è semplice in quanto i mercati principali restano sempre quelli degli ultimi anni, quindi il trend è molto positivo sugli Stati Uniti, il mercato principale siamo oltre il 30% di acquisto rispetto alla produzione in Montalcino. Per quanto riguarda l'Europa è sempre Germania, Svizzera, Inghilterra. Per quanto riguarda l'Asia il mercato principale, quello più storico, resta il Giappone, con qualcosa di nuovo nelle zone tipo Hong Kong, Cina e altri stati, però sono veramente percentuali piccole.
New markets are not easy, mainly the export is the most important market for the export are US and then Europe, US 30% and then Europe with Germany, Swiss and UK. Concerning the new markets are raising up, the most important in Asia market is for sure Japan, and then it's still raising up Hong Kong and China as well, but with a small percentage.
Thank you so much. So that was the Chianti Classico, Vernaccia di San Gimignano and Vino Nobile di Montepulciano and Brunello di Montalcino heads talking about Anteprima di Toscana and what are the changes that have happened in the last 5 years. And it was quite interesting actually to taste the wines and see, though not many of them actually commented on the wine styles, but something that I have seen in the last 5 years is somewhere they have tried a little bit. When you talk to the wine producers, you know that they have tried to change the style a little bit which would be much more appealing to an international customer sometimes, because Chianti Classico as a wine could be very high in acidity, lots of tannins, and when you drink them young, it's not something that a lot of people would enjoy. I really love Sangiovese as a grape, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. It comes from Tuscany, but Vernaccia di San Gimignano, it's something very interesting, a very interesting white wine that the world needs to know more about. So that's all I had. It sounds quite interesting, isn't it?
It does. It sounds interesting, and I think every year with this event we get to know what's happening around the world or over there, and what to look forward to.
The Tuscany special episode, which we did, the second episode which we had on travel, we spoke about this event.
So for all the listeners, you can go back and listen to that episode and come back to this one to draw a bit of a connect, which will be great.
Thank you so much for listening to the Drinks and Destinations podcast, and do tune in for another exciting episode next weekend. You can listen to our episodes on SoundCloud, Audioboom, iTunes, or any other podcast app. You can like, comment, follow, and subscribe to Drinks and Destinations on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also do follow, comment, subscribe to our channel In This Vox Media on YouTube, and click on the bell icon to get notifications when a new episode is out. So, while all of us love our tipple, make sure that you drink responsibly.
Bye guys.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcasts, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcasts galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.